Have you ever wondered how entrepreneurs create full-scale programs while juggling launches, clients, and real life? In this behind the scenes episode, I'm sharing how Whitney Abraham and I created Ready Set Revenue, our no-fluff launch program for female entrepreneurs, where we're handing you over the entire toolkit that we use to launch. So inside today's episode, we're pulling back the curtain on why we created Ready Set Revenue and what makes it different from every other launch course out there, how we divided and conquer strategy and marketing and tech while running our own businesses, the systems, templates, and actual scripts we used for our very own launch, and what we learned along the way. So whether you have launched before or you're still stuck in the post and pray mode, this launch support is for you, especially if you want to think about strategically planning your launches going forward. And P.S., how great would it be to have your launch planning done by summer? Inside Ready Set Revenue, there's actually two ways that you can work with us. One is a 4-week virtual experience with live coaching and the entire plug and play launch system. Or option 2 is a VIP 2-day in-person weekend in our hometown in Columbus, Ohio. We will build your full launch strategy with content, photos, and more. So you can listen to this week's episode and get a peek behind the scenes, but also grab your spot inside our new program at hollymariehaynes.com/Ready Set Revenue. Welcome back to this week's Pep Talk. And today I'm so excited to share with you behind the scenes on how we created our brand new program, Ready Set Revenue. And we did it while launching. So again, the last couple of episodes, we've been talking all about launching, including our new private podcast, Launch Lessons, which you can grab at hollymariehaynes.com/launch lessons. But also the lessons learned while launching and how now, this episode, how to build a program on the back end of your launch system. So today's episode is a little behind the scenes, like real talk and a whole lot of like, how the heck did we build this thing? And I'm taking you inside Ready Set Revenue, which is our brand new program that is literally handing you over the toolkit and the assets to launch like a legend. That's what we call it. And how we created it. So how we went from a messy Google Doc and back-to-back launches, because Whitney and I, my friend who I am partnering with for this program, both have our own businesses, and how we did it while we were running our businesses and our lives. And, you know, if you've ever wondered about like, well, what actually happens? This is your inside peek. And of course, we're going to talk about Ready Set Revenue, which is literally handing you the playbook inside the exact launch strategy that we use to launch this. So first things first, I want to talk about why we, myself and Whitney, created Ready Set Revenue. And, you know, I think the number one thing is launching does not have to feel like a full-blown circus. And every time that I use the word launch with my clients, their face like just turns either red or they look like they've seen a ghost, because there are steps that you have to take. And in this economy, you have to take a lot of the steps. There's really not a lot of skipping. I always say, unless you're like Kim Kardashian and you can just like sell by posting one thing and make millions of dollars. Most of us don't have that type of audience or that type of leverage. We also don't have that type of team or that type of time. And so we were both just tired of seeing too many women stuck in this like post and pray cycle. Like, oh, well, I'm just going to put it out there and see what happens. And I'm just going to post this and see what happens. But then we feel exhausted, and then we launch it and we feel really underpaid because there were so many steps that you had to take, or we're just winging it and we're like, oh my gosh, like I can't, like, what do I do? What do I even do next? And so I knew in my heart there needed to be a simpler, smarter, life first way, mainly because I needed to do it to survive. And so Whitney and I have been launching this way for several years now and have had, you know, hundreds of clients go through this model. And so we're like, you know what, we need to put it out there. And so if we're being honest, we were just tired of the like textbook sort of bro marketing advice and wanted to create a system for real women. Like, we're both running our businesses. We both have families. We both are busy. We're both traveling. We both launched our own products and services while building this program. And so hopefully that is enough to show you that this works. And it's based on a schedule of a real person, a real human, not somebody with, 100 people doing the work for them. So how did we build it? First, Whitney and I both had full calendars, right? So client work, launches, families, but we're committed to building this thing. And so we actually started building this in October of last year. So October was the idea. We have a lot of events, like live events that happen in the fall. And honestly, our clients were asking us for us, like, when are you guys going to work together? When are you going to talk about like how you actually do this thing? And so we knew that we had to come up with something. We just weren't really sure what it looked like. And so we started out with what were our roles inside this program. So I personally am the strategist, the automations, the systems, the like, how does this all flow together kind of thing. And then Whitney is like the marketing genius of like the copy and the messaging and the photos and like, what does the external thing look like? And we knew if we brought it together that you guys were going to get both, and it was just going to be something really, really magical. So how did we do it? We started working in sprints. And I typically do this in my own business, but just in smaller increments. So I will sit down, like today, I'm recording 5 podcast episodes. I would call that a sprint. If I'm re-recording something or teaching something, I'll do it in a sprint because I'm batching things together. So we started doing that for coming up with our podcast and then our program. And what we did was blocked out our calendar. So we started blocking out working sessions for like 4 to 5 hours. And this is something where it's like batching on steroids, but we knew if we had it on the calendar that we would follow through with it. And then we followed our own process, right? So we started with the planning. We planned over a 4 to 5 hour period. Then we put together the execution plan, right, of what steps do we need to take and when do we need to take them. And then we batched all of that together. So we batched recorded, we batched writing copy, we batched building the web page, we batched doing all the things. And this is exactly what we teach you inside Ready, Set, Revenue. We are literally handing you over the exact playbook. It is step by step of what we did and how we do it. Everything from ideation to what is your tech stack, to if you have a team, what is your team doing, to the content, to the copywriting, to the funnels, like we are giving you all of it. And so the takeaway for, I think, behind the scenes of how we built this was we were launching other offers as we were creating this. So we were taking great notes because it is very real life. And 2, you don't have to put everything on pause. You just have to come up with a plan that strategically fits your lifestyle. So we knew because it was going to take us a while to do this big ass launch, like I talked about last week, that we needed to work backwards and make sure we gave ourselves enough time. So we didn't put our business on pause and we didn't put our lifestyle on pause. We just gave ourselves a longer runway to complete it instead of forcing it all into a really small time period. So the next thing that I think is really important is what makes this program different. This is really not a course, to be honest. We're handing you the assets. We're handing you the playbook. We are in a period right now, and I've shared this behind the scenes, where, early in 2020, what people wanted was information. Information is not enough right now. Now it's information, and I also want you to teach me and show me, and I want you to be a real person, and I want you to be able to talk to you. So we've added that in. But also, there are easier ways to do things. Everything from scripts that already exist, to templates, to calendars, to AI tools, to content that people have already used that you can repurpose for your own. And so we're literally giving you the toolkit by launch size. So if you've followed me for a while, you know that I love like a good roadmap, like step-by-step visual. And so for each launch, small, medium, and big, we have a roadmap of what to follow, like a visual. And then it's very plug and play. You click on it and it tells you exactly what you need to do. And then we're layering in our own live expertise because we're going to teach you how to pick what launch works for you. We're adding in our AI assistants. We have Launch Lucy and a few more of her friends, which help you make it even easier to customize. And we're here to show you that you don't need an entire team because we did this. we created this. I mentioned on a previous episode that inside my team, I have a copywriter and I have a website team. For this program, the only thing that we used were my website team. Everything else Whitney and I did because we wanted to show you that you can do this, that you can take this and plug and play it into your own system and your own strategy. And so I thought it would be fun because all month we've been talking about launching. Lessons learned along the way. So building a big ass launch and a big program takes a lot of time. And I think for us, it was just realizing that you don't have to wait for perfect timing. Like it does not exist. Our schedules are always busy. There are always things going on along the way. And so the best thing that we could do was give ourselves extra time. We knew that we were going to do it and there isn't a perfect time. So we just made sure that we had extra time to layer in all of the steps. The second piece is, and every time I come home from Whitney's house, my girls are like, "Oh, did you have a play date today?" So that's what they call it. And every time I say like, "Wow, building this with a friend is just so much more fun." Like the fun factor of this program has just been something so different. And, I think regardless of if you're doing it yourself or with a partner, have somebody that, can hold you accountable and think about what that looks like. That's really, really important to have an accountability partner. And then really thinking about delegation and structure and simplification. I am not kidding when I tell you that our entire launch plan is in a Google Doc. It is a very organized Google Doc, and we're going to hand you over that Google Doc in Ready, Set, Revenue. But we wanted to make sure that both of us could work at different times because we have different things going on, just like you have different things going on. But it was very structured and very clear what we needed to do and when. And then last but not least, you don't need to do it all at once. So sitting down and mapping out a big launch, you can't do in a week, right? And so you need to give yourself the right amount of time, but you also need to think about what's the best next step. And I find myself saying this all the time because there's a lot of other things going on. I have 3 other product suites that I'm running, plus a full team, plus clients. And so every single week, it's okay, what's the best next step that I can do to keep this process going? I'm not trying to build the whole thing in 1 week. And then last but not least, I personally feel like if you have the steps mapped out and you have the right time frame allocated, it's actually fun. Launching is actually fun. Building is actually fun. And you feel so confident about it getting put out in the world, knowing that you did everything you could to make it the best it can be. And so that's just a little behind the scenes on why we created Ready, Set, Revenue, how we created it. Yes, it's been in the works since October, and what you can expect inside. So we built truly Ready, Set, and Revenue with you in mind because I know that based on the feedback from all of these podcast episodes we've done on launching, that you're tired of launches that leave you feeling underpaid or maybe overwhelmed. You are really done winging it. And maybe your launch plan has 14 tabs and you're like, I don't know what to do next. And you're truly ready to launch with a strategy. And so again, this isn't a watch a video and learn how to launch. This is us handing over our entire playbook. Everything we did to build this, everything in terms of what's working and what's not in 2025 and beyond, and our templates, our AI support, our live coaching, and more. And so whether or not you join Ready, Set, Revenue, which is hollymariehaynes.com/Ready, Set, Revenue, or you just got a lot from listening to these last couple of podcast episodes, I just want to remind you that you are not too late, you are not too behind, and you just need the right tools. And hopefully you can see that we built them for you. So inside Ready, Set, Revenue, there's actually 2 options. You can join the virtual program and come hang out with us online, or you can come hang out with us in person for a VIP experience here in our hometown in Columbus, Ohio. We have got you covered. So let's get you launching like a legend. Let's launch differently and come take a peek at Ready, Set, Revenue.